are live and it is working, so we are good to go.
We'll call the meeting to order, a roll call first. Let's start, Tony.
Here, present, Tony Corkin.
And where are you? Administration Center.
What?
You have to tell them you're here.
Oh, here.
No, at the Administration Center, where's the location?
I still can't, boy, I have a hard time.
Just tell them you're at the Administration Center.
I'm at the administrative center.
Okay.
Okay.
Carl?
Carl Kiefer, Administration Center.
James Bednar, Administrative Center.
Julie Werfel, Ed Center.
Rhiannon Sisson, Administration Center.
Dick Schinkel at the Administration Center. Mamie?
Mamie Yarbrough, City of Benton Harbor.
No. Derek?
You're on mute.
Okay.
There you go.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
So you're present on Zoom? No. Oh my God. You're not muted, so I'm not sure I'm not getting audio.
Eric Lester here on Zoom from St. Joe Township for the Barron County Planning Commission.
Okay.
Is that it?
Chuck? Did we get Chuck already?
No.
No.
I'll ask him to unmute.
Chuck here on Zoom from New Buffalo.
Great.
Okay. You had the minutes emailed to you, approval of the minutes, any questions?
It's so moved.
Have support?
Support, second.
Any other discussion?
You need to
They
say,
want their roll call.
I don't know who's supporting, who made the motion?
We approve the minutes?
She's looking for the person's name.
Who did?
Who made the
Oh.
motion and who did the support.
Tony did.
Okay.
Okay, we have that roll call vote, all right, okay.
Sorry.
Yes.
If they have to tell the name,
So like if Sue called off whose names they were, then they would say yes or yay or nay.
okay, I don't have their name in front of me. Tony? He said
Yes.
Okay, Carl?
Yes.
Eric?
James, yes.
Julie, yes.
Eric, yes.
Mamie?
Mamie,
Mamie?
yes, yes, Mamie.
And then Chuck.
Chuck?
Chuck Barron?
Yes.
Okay,
Dick, would you like me to do that when it comes time?
any no's? The motion's carried. Any guests? Think so? Communications? You're up.
Okay. We will get started with the meeting, I suppose. So start with the budget status reports and report of collections. You may have received this information, actually, yes, received this information. And for the 2021 revenue budget status report for the first quarter through March 31st, 2021, the actual revenue was $97,823, and that is about 9% of the current budget. For the expense budget status report through the first quarter as well, the expenses were $125,800, 12% of the budget. Here is a chart for the report of collections, and to date, compared to last year in the first quarter, it is up 102%. And we will be highlighting some of these revenue sources in some of our reports later in the meeting.
Okay, any questions on collections or other status reports? Entertain motion to accept them
So move. Carl.
by Carl. Support,
Julie.
Julie. Okay, why don't you just give us your name and go yes or no, while on the round.
Tony, yes.
Carl, yes.
James, yes.
Julie, yes.
Mamie, yes. Uh-oh, I'm probably on mute.
Eric, yes.
Chuck.
Chuck, yes.
Motion's carried. And environmental programs update.
Quick update on the recycling programs so far this year. The 11th Reduce, Reuse, Recycle Day was last Wednesday, a week ago at Lake Michigan College. And this event is a drive-through recycling drop-off program. We had 793 participants drive through to drop off material that day. We nearly filled a full semi of foam or styrofoam, which is the largest, actually the company owner who we recycle with was there, and she says she's never collected that much at a community recycling event before. It was pretty amazing. Thousands of pounds of electronics and household chemicals, and we will have more information and specifics on that soon. And nearly 16,000 pounds of documents that were shredded on site, which almost filled both shredding trucks that were there.
Wow.
We, despite having some challenges getting volunteers through Lake Michigan College this year with their some restrictions and students not being on campus, we were still able to get about 40 volunteers to come out, and they helped carry out this event. Long line of cars, we've got them through quickly, dropped off materials. We'll hold 4 more collections similar to this over the rest of the year. Any questions?
I have a question. How do they dissolve or process styrofoam? Where does that go? What happens to that?
It's pretty amazing. I've been through a tour at a place up near Lansing. Styrofoam is a type of plastic, polystyrene, and they basically remove the air. So they condense it down, and then they have plastic, and they can make it into pellets that can go downstream and be made into new products.
And then they send it back to us as squiggles.
It's a lot of different things can be made out of that, but a full 53-foot semi full.
Yeah.
If you take the air out, it's really not going to be that much plastic in the end. So, transportation is often the hard part about recycling styrofoam. It's costly.
Now, if it goes into a landfill, it's there forever.
Yeah, it's plastic. It'll take multiple decades to make any difference. And in a landfill, it's kind of sealed. So it doesn't have sunlight, doesn't have air, doesn't have the right water and components to be breaking down very much in there.
Okay. Thank you.
Our recycler is out of Elkhart.
May I ask a question? Mamie Yarbrough?
Sure.
How do we pay for this? How do you know how much you can do? How do you know you can do 12 a year or whatever?
Our current vendor quoted per event, and the budget that it comes from is the Environmental Affairs account, which is funding from the local landfill use fund dollars.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Silver Beach report.
All right, Silver Beach. We are getting ready to open. The opening process has been going now for a number of weeks. We are moving sand back into its place. We are recruiting staff. We are getting restrooms ready and opened and the water turned on, and we'll get there very soon. We are looking, we're pretty good on staff. We're looking for a few more folks to work at the beach for the summer. Mainly, we're looking for park seasonal maintenance staff. So if you know of anyone who would like to work maintenance at the beach or maintenance system-wide, so they would go to all the other parks as well, we're really in need of that position to be filled. So send people our way if you can think of anybody. Also, just to let you know, right now we have 17 Shadowland Pavilion rentals on the books and 34 Dunes rentals on the books. And most likely, Sue will get multiple more calls to schedule
Yeah,
events
they're
this
really
summer.
starting to pour in now, last minute weddings.
Outdoor weddings seem to be pretty popular these days.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Do you know when 4th of July will be?
Right now we do have the Symphony Orchestra scheduled to play their concert on July 3rd.
Okay.
And that is the extent of my knowledge of what's happening over Independence Day.
You don't know if there'll be fireworks? Is that what you're saying?
The city is still making and they've been discussing it and reaching out for feedback. I don't think they've made their announcement yet.
Okay, thank you.
Another project that we're working on is our Silver Beach concession stand agreement. The Board of Commissioners passed a resolution on April 8th, which allows us to extend our agreement with our current concessionaire for an additional 2 years through 2023, and also approved to expand our retail space. We've met with the city and we're working out some of those concerns, but as you can see in this picture, the concession stand is in disrepair. It was built in 2003 and was meant to be a temporary facility for our concession. I've been digging back in the archives and it looked like this was kind of a starting point, and the idea was to expand this as the years went on. But it's stayed basically the same footprint since 2003. Our concessionaire is considering different ways to expand the retail space. She understands and sees that we are completely growing out of this space, and our visitors and guests really want some more amenities, more merchandise, food. Right now we have one sale window and the line can get quite long in the summer. So the idea and what we're considering and looking at creating, I don't know if my pointer will work, but we're looking at adding an additional retail space on this side of the building, which faces south, and also on the right-hand side or the east side of the building, and that would allow for more point of sale locations. The idea is to sell merchandise and chair rentals out of one area, maybe ice cream out of another, and then food out of a third, and capture people's attention on 3 sides of the building. The idea that is being discussed is bringing recycled or upcycled containers to be converted into retail space and concessions. And I found some examples just in case you haven't seen something like this before. This is an upcycled container made into a snack depot at John Ball Zoo in Grand Rapids. This container, it's not retail, but it is an upcycled shipping container located in the Arts District in Benton Harbor on Territorial Road, just to give you an idea of what could be. Silver Beach is not looking at stairs or an upstairs in theirs, but just kind of give you an idea of what's available. And also, Watermark Brewing in Stevensville has an upcycled container as their entrance into their courtyard. Those are just some fairly local ideas of upcycled containers to give you an idea of what may be to come at Silver Beach for the additional retail space. These are not permanent and they can be removed whenever necessary. And then finally, we're also continuing our work on the illustrative master plan. And this is a plan that focuses on the concession stand and the playground at Silver Beach, so they're in the yellow oval. We went through a competitive bid process earlier this year, and we are working with DLZ Incorporated out of St. Joe. And we've met with them and we've discussed our ideas and our needs with the steering committee. And they are now running with these ideas and needs, putting it into a draft of a plan. The idea is that the plan will be ready in May, and we'd like to bring that plan to you folks, Parks Commission, the Berrien County Board of Commissioners, and the public in a public meeting, get some feedback and get some ideas. Send that back to the architect with all of our ideas and all of our discussion, and have a plan in place to, again, present to these groups in July. The areas that we are going to focus on in this plan are the concession services, park operations, public safety, first aid, and the playground and seating area.
What was the last one?
Seating, yeah, benches and possibly some shade. Any questions on any of the Silver Beach items?
Yes. Did we get all the trees removed and replanted and everything else we were talking about a year ago?
We did take down a number of trees. Luckily, we were able to salvage some. Were we able to replant?
Tony, you're talking, or Carl, down by the Lighthouse Point condominiums?
Well, no, I thought we were talking about on the edges of the parking lot where some of them were dying.
Yeah, anything that was dying, but we had 3 large poplar trees that were damaging a retaining wall that was along the Lighthouse Point condominiums. Those trees were removed.
Mm-hmm.
And then we didn't plant any more trees there. There's really no need to in that space.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Any other question for Silver Beach? Okay, Road Creek.
All right, Eric's on the line and he will take over.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Somewhat? So just to reiterate, from our meeting in February, we ended up having a fantastic ski year. You know, compared to last year where we had, I think, 5 ski days, you know, we had several weeks of skiing this year. So it gave us a large amount of ski rentals, youth rentals, snowshoe rentals. So that gave us kind of the largest 3-month revenue start through March that I could dig back on. So we were really excited to see that. A lot of people wanted to get out, and even following you know, the COVID guidelines, everybody, all of our guests and visitors, they did so well respecting the Nature Center and respecting these guidelines, you know, along with our staff here at Love Creek enforcing them. So we were really fortunate to have such a fantastic winter this year. We had lots of support from Whirlpool again. You know, because snow is so variable in this area, we had skiers and fat bikers and everything coming up from southern Indiana, northern Kentucky, just to come and ski or fat bike here at Love Creek. So just wanted to point those things out. Next slide. So we're getting started on a lot of just programs here at the park, wellness walks. Just have a list of things that people can come and still do outside: nature guided hikes, wildflower walks, journey to a frog pond and woodcock watch, which you'll see in the next slide. We've already done and had really nice showings. Next slide. So we had a journey to a frog pond was just this Saturday, and we had a lot of really, really good turnout for it. Again, we were all outside. Everybody did good. Kids came out, had a really good time. Basically, on our journey to a frog pond program, we go down to our pond and we allow the kids to kind of get muddy, scoop up some algae and some frogs with some nets, and kind of get a real good close look at them. So it was really well received, and happy to see people still want to get out. And then just under that is our woodcock walk, which we do every year too. If you've never seen the woodcock, you should probably come out and see it. He's got a really unusual mating dance that happens right at sundown. It's really, really interesting to see, but it was a good turnout for that as well. Next up. Unfortunately, schools are still being, incredibly cautious about what they do. So our overall school program, field trips and going to schools to present is obviously quite a bit down, but we still had the opportunity. Lamand and Bailey did some Zoom programs with, kids in Niles, and this is a picture from one of that. So we actually, Lamanda actually delivered some owl pellets and some different things so the kids could still interact while they were going through the program. So it's good to still be doing some things with the schools. Next slide. And that's it. Any questions?
Yes. I'm affiliated with the Boy Scouts, and they were out there hiking at Hill Creek. And question come up, are there any Eagle projects available there?
We have different ones. I actually have a group coming out this Saturday to help us with some honeysuckle brush cutting. Eagle Scouts, we, depending on, the dads and the kids' skill set, we might have some, need some help with maybe some boardwalks. But really the biggest thing for us that we typically need help with is invasive species removal. Is one of the best.
Okay, I'll send it back.
Any other questions for our creek?
Yeah, just send us an email and we'll get them set up or something.
Okay, Madeline Bertrand.
All right, Madeline Bertrand. Our managers at the beach are occupied today with a number of items, so they sent their report in. And just want to highlight some of the things they've been working on in the first quarter. They've been very busy, just like Love Creek. Mother Nature cooperated quite well and provided wonderful recreation opportunities. The revenue for the first quarter was over $38,000, and of that, the ski total was over $11,000. They currently have 58 facility reservations and will likely add to that throughout the year as well. And they have all their seasonal staff hired, which is 4 seasonal rangers, 1 seasonal assistant manager, and they have 2 full-time and 1 part-time manager at the beach. At Madeline Bertrand. They are a 7-day-a-week operation in the warmer months, and this small crew does a lot of work to make that park top-notch. They did tell me a story with Ski season was amazing. They did night skis. People came out in droves to cross-country ski. And the day it melted, the disc golfers were right there in line, ready to go. So it was nonstop recreation through the spring.
But disc golf is just a fad.
Yeah.
May I ask a question? Amy Yarborough, have things cleared up about the South End people coming over the fence or something? You know, you all were looking at that the last time, or that's been a concern that they're not going to come in?
Sure, yep, this slide, just put this in here to give us a reminder to just give a quick update on that.
Jay had put out a memo, a couple pages of reasons that there is difficulties at the intersection of the two parks, and his recommendation, Mad Bird has, St. Patrick has reached out to us to talk with us, and I think we don't have anything scheduled yet when to come, do we?
No. Commissioner, this is Brian Bailey. I talked with Leslie Witkowski, the St. Joe County Parks Director, regarding the snow fence that you're referencing, Mamie.
Yes.
If you recall, we have an agreement with St. Patrick's Park. However, we had a number of people skiing into the park, walking into the park, dogs on the ski trails, coming in from St. Patrick's that did not pay their trail fee, that did not, basically ignored some of the rules that were agreed upon. And so the snow fence went up. It was agreed upon via an email from this Parks Commission that yes, we'll put the snow fence up for the ski season. That snow fence has come down, and this is a topic for you to consider for the next several months. Is St. Joe County Parks Director, their top-notch desire is to keep a free-flowing open border year-round. They understand the concerns, the unfairness, when you have a family comes in and pays $44 for ski rentals, ski tickets, and then a family comes by that doesn't pay, it came in from St. That's not fair, it's not equitable. They understand that. So if we decide to put the fence up again next year, they said they'd work with us, but their desire is to have free-flowing open border. I know Tony Corrigan has expressed in an email to me a desire to have, due to liability concerns and other issues that happen year-round, is the park should be closed and everybody comes in their own respective entrances. A timeline you might want to set is for your August meeting when Jill's setting her 2022 budget. Are we going to budget materials to close that? It's just a discussion you need to make and think about over the next several months. That park allows alcohol in the park, Madeline Bertrand does not. There's a very, very variety of issues that we can send to you, and we'll do that as far as the pros and cons of, and Tony, Dick, and Carl, you've been around since the park was established, and this is not a new topic. When you have two different borders, you look at the state of Michigan, state of Indiana with the COVID. Two different things are happening at the same time as far as which one's open, which one's not, why are they open, why are they closed, why does Madeline Bertrand have hours that are this, and so on and so forth. So it's something a topic that certainly needs to be discussed in the future.
Have there had any complaints about people coming from Madeline Bertrand into their park? Do they have that happen?
They do, maybe, but it's more so that they are coming from Indiana, and they certainly do. But Madeline Bertrand trails are more wooded and more out of the wind, a little bit more protection from the environment, so they're a more desirable place to ski.
Do they want to pay us a bit of money? That's my proposition to them. Would they want to pay us some money for their people that are coming across the line? Just give us so much a year?
Well, it's something that both departments could discuss. We do have an agreement that we split these ski trail fees, but on some days where we offered skiing and had skis open, they were closed.
Yeah.
Due to one reason they had was equipment failure, which is a legitimate reason, but their snowmobile didn't run that day. So they didn't open that weekend because they didn't have, so to answer would they pay us for families that came in and crossed? I don't think they would, but if we knew how many, if they sold 100 trail passes and we sold 100 trail passes, then there's an agreement that we have, maybe.
Okay.
Is it only the winter?
I'm sorry?
Is it issue only in the winter, or do they come across and get on the disc golf?
It's primarily the equity is in the winter because of nobody, if they come in and don't pay, ski and then leave, that's not fair to paying customers to do. The trails are open to anybody with no fee during this time of year.
Both parks?
Both parks.
Okay.
There is a vehicle entry fee into the park, into Meadowbrook Train, and there's a disc golf fee, yes. So the issue isn't as hot a topic this time of year because there's no fee to walk the trails at either park.
But there is to pull in and park.
But there is pull and park.
At both?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The times that we noticed this was going on, we did contact them, and I guess I don't want to say they ignored us, but it kept continuing. And so that's when we decided that we put the fence back up. And I guess my recommendation, and this is my own personal, is that we do close the park up for the winter time unless we come to some type of agreement. As Brian had indicated, it's not fair to our budget, it's not fair to our people, and liability they brought out also.
Yeah.
But I think it's something we need to have a decision on by August so that we can, face the next year. So think about it. Anything else, Jeff?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Galeen River. Galeen River is open for the season. It was open March 11th this year. And our maintenance team has been down there doing regular opening maintenance, getting the trails and the walkways ready, dealing with making sure all the signs are in place, trash cans, portable toilets, and that park is ready to roll. So if you haven't visited it yet this spring, now is a great time to go.
I have one question about Galeen River, if I can ask. I mean, I actually go there quite often, just for whatever reason. And there's a little sign that when you walk in off the parking lot, down at the very bottom, it says no dogs. So there's tons of people with dogs, constantly, on the trail, just doing whatever they do when they walk out on the boardwalks. But it also, in fairness to them, it's really hard to see. I mean, how many people walk down a trail, start to go on a trail, and have to read the 5th or 6th line down before they know something. So if we are serious about the no dog, which my wife has a dog, but I'd rather not have it on the boardwalk either, then maybe something separate that could be seen a little easier, because this doesn't just jump out at you. Who's going to read through that if you consider that?
Good feedback, thank you. We can look at that and.
Yeah, take a look at that, yeah. It continues to be a very active park.
Oh, it's packed on Saturdays.
The historical courthouse.
Well, it is 2021, thank God, we're on 2020. We are almost done with the permanent renovation, the renovation of the permanent exhibit at 1839 Courthouse. Jill's been down there, Brian's been down there, it's a 180, it's no longer, what was the phrase used? It's no longer a dark cave, it doesn't feel like a dungeon down here, so we're getting positive feedback, we're finishing up, in fact, that's what I was doing before I left to come here, was the last minute plans for this. We will take about a month and a half off, and then we'll start renovations over at the Sheriff's residence. So we received an $8,000 grant from the St. Joe Benton Harbor Rotary Foundation. And we will renovate the sheriff's office, the lower level, and portions of the upper level to include a return of our research library. We are continuing with our programming. We cancel when we need to. Thankfully, none of these have been excessively costly programs, so I didn't spend any money. We can cancel it, not a big deal. We're super excited. We are doing Love Creek. Well, actually, I should say we're borrowing Love Creek for the summer. We have a five-part constellation conversations, we would call them, but the first Saturday of the month between May and September, we will be out at Love Creek and we will be kind of sitting around the campfire. We have a campfire. I don't know, I gotta talk to Amanda and Derek about it. Gotta get down to the wire. And we'll tell the stories of the constellations from different parts of the world. We'll talk Potawatomi, Asian, African, Latin America, and the first one will be non-Greek or Roman New York star stories. There is a cost for that, but we will be taking care of all those things. Love Creek is just providing the space for us, and then once we're done, we'll do a night hike out to the prairie so people can see the stars. If it's cloudy, well, then we'll still take the night hike if we want to. Maybe we all could use the exercise after a year inside. We are also doing an outdoor musical series this summer as well, and 4 of the 5 dates are already taken. It'll be the 4th Friday of the month. And we will also charge for those, but it's going to be costly, so we need to have the money for it. We have 4 of the dates already taken. September is the only one we do not have a musician for. So if you know anyone who'd like to perform, let us know. We'd love to have them. But we have a wide variety. The symphony orchestra is coming out. We have a duo coming out. We have a 13-piece jazz band coming out. And we'll have a piano player in May. So those will be outside, great for social distancing. If you have Eagle Scouts that need projects, I have projects they can come help me with. I always have projects at the museum we could use sturdy youth who have way more energy than I do to complete them. We are going to do Pioneer Day this year, but we're doing it a little bit differently. In fact, that's what I'm looking at on my phone is an email from a teacher. We're doing a Pioneer Day in a box. Schools can order individual kits for their students so that they can socially distance and still participate in the same activities. They are $10 per student, and they come with all the materials that they need to complete the activities, plus a little goodie bag as a thank you for being a part of our event. And then for $25, they can rent a staff member for 30 minutes to talk about pioneer living here in the state of Michigan. Our goal is obviously go back to the in-person event next year, but this year gives us an opportunity to get back in front of schools as a viable place for field trips. And because the kits can be designed however we want, we can also hit every grade level K through 5 instead of just 3rd and 4th. So if it proves to be popular and teachers like it, that may be an option for those who don't come to the in-person events because we limit those to 3rd and 4th grade. So we're not losing those younger students. They will build up to the in-person event and get really excited about coming, and then it'll make a really great day for them in the future. We just had a member meeting last night. We have updated our bylaws a little bit more reflective of the times that we're in, including, Zoom meetings and email voting opportunities. So we're very excited on that. We did award our annual History Hero Award to Ken Ankley out of Benton Harbor for his renovation of the Sheffield building. Our finalist was the Friends of Lincoln Township Library. We're writing a book about the history of the library. I think they just had their 60th anniversary. So we're very excited to have had both of those folks be nominated this year. We were glad to give somebody over at Benton Harbor the award. Trying to spread it out. We are also want to let you know for the other parks, if you are running out of spaces or people looking for smaller venues for weddings or party rentals, we are renting for weddings and parties. We just had one this past weekend, and the bride and groom were very pleased with it, especially since their venue kind of screwed up their plans a little bit for the reception. We were able to modify it for them to enjoy themselves on the grounds and utilize the jail plaza. So if that is always an option for those who may not be able to find a date that they want with another park, they can come to us. We're happy to accommodate. Obviously, we do have fees, but those are available on our website. All in all, my staff is still here. We're still excited. And Dick, did you want me to talk about the windows or?
Yeah, if you want.
So last year, we were supposed to come to the Parks Commission and then to the county commissioners about the selling of the old courthouse windows. So Julie, you weren't here, but in 2019, after many, many years, we finally got brand new, beautiful windows, as you probably saw when you were there. The county, through the I should say Dick and Brian had made the recommendation to us that we do a proposal to park commissioners and then the county commissioners that the BCHA be allowed to sell those windows and keep the money for projects related to the grounds. We originally, the idea had been to sell those windows to renovate the 1839 courthouse permanent exhibit. Obviously, we didn't have the meetings last year to have the vote, and then we found the asbestos and had to renovate anyway. So likely what we're gonna sit there and say is I got 2 projects in the queue. So we have the sheriff's office, and then we'll do Murdoch cabin next because there's structural issues that we need to focus on for that. Windows, things inside, the squirrel problem. And so what we're saying is we're asking the county to allow us to sell those at an okay markup for a fundraiser to keep all the funds, and then we can funnel those back into these future projects because we need to fix the doors inside Sheriff's House. Thank God Tim was there the day the doorknob fell off, so he was able to help us get it back together. But we have very little accessibility to the back door. Windows need to be reglazed and the edges fixed. We won't even talk about how the porch is literally falling apart and the wood's falling off of it. And it's very terrible. It's not structurally unsound, it's just visually bad. And then, like I said, we do have some structural things at Murdoch cabin, windows, flooring, doors, and then structural stuff upstairs that need to be repaired and updated. And so that's what we're proposing for the money. We need the commissioners, we need the park commission, the park board to sit there and say, yes, we agree with it, and then the next step would go to the commissioners, and then the commissioners can yay or nay it. I don't see why you wouldn't, because it's one less thing you guys have to do, one less thing you have to store, and one less project you have to fund. So I think it's a win-win for everybody.
The windows, if I'm correct, there's full-size windows, there's half, and of course there's individual panes. And I think being the oldest historic courthouse, there can be a demand for just persons in the county in the area, as well as across the state and possibly across the United States. Because, you know, to have those windows, I think it's something that's worthwhile. Plus, they're just sitting in storage now.
And they're taking up space.
Just as a note, before I was married, I helped glaze those windows in 1963, 4. I helped glaze those windows with my father-in-law. He was hired to reglaze them. So it was kind of interesting.
Well,
very high up.
Well, I'd like
There's
to...
your first step.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, somehow it got out. We were telling a couple of people, because people asked what we're going to do with, as I said, we're working with the county to see if we can sell windows. We're not 100% certain what's going to go up. They may want them back. Technically, it's their building. But somehow somebody must have said something, and Andrews University specifically called us and said, if you're selling the windows, we want at least one full-size one. Because it used to be, in addition to the Seventh-day Adventist Village Church until 1966, that property was the very first campus for Andrews University when they were still a missionary manual college back in 1901, 1902. So they have a historical connection to the building beyond just the fact that it's an Adventist church. They would be interested in purchasing at least one window. And it is, these gotta be what, 12, 15-foot tall windows, they're huge. And so it's 3 sections, so we can sell them per section, we can sell the whole window, or we can sell the individual panes. And most of these panes still have pre-1930s wavy glass in it. Obviously, over the years, as window panes got broken or damaged, they were replaced, but there's still plenty of them that have that old wavy glass, and that stuff can go for $50 for a 8.5 by 11 piece. So there's money there. We're not going to make $25,000 off of this, but if I can make $5,000 or $6,000, well, my budget for the current renovation in the courthouse is $13,085. By the time I'm done, it'll probably be about $11,000 to $12,000. So I can make Abraham Lincoln cry when I squeeze it. So.
I'd like to entertain a motion for somebody to allow the BCHA to explore selling the windows. And that way we can come to the Board of Commissioners.
So I make a motion, Mamie Yarborough.
And I'll second it.
Okay,
I have a question.
yes.
Are you gonna have them appraised? Are you gonna sell them? Are you gonna auction them off? What are you talking about? How will you do this?
I'll be very honest, I haven't thought that far ahead. Because we didn't have a chance to really get too deep into it before quarantine hit last year when we were first talking about this. But likely we will have to have someone appraise them so we can have a starting point for the value, and then we'll go from there. We would probably need to decide if we're gonna do this in phases. So we'll maybe, if someone wants a whole window, they should be able to purchase a whole window. And then if none of the windows sell entirely, then we can go by the sections, and then we can go by the window panes themselves. So I have yet to figure out the details on this, but I've usually been able to figure it out eventually, but they will have to be appraised first.
There will be someone local that can tell you or help you to know how those goes. And I watch HGTV all the time, and I see on porches and things, they're hanging these windows, or in the houses, different heights from chains. It's really interesting. So it may be worth more than you know.
Yes, so we'll probably find someone either out of Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, possibly Chicago. So we'll kind of look in the L area to find someone who can do the appraisal work for us, and then we'll go from there. But we just need to get to the point where we can move forward with that project through the approvals.
Ask local. I think help me, Larry.
Okay.
The bidders, those families that do bidding and stuff.
That's true, we got Antique Central here in Berrien County, so.
Don't go further than Berrien County. Try us first. We might do it for not much money or run the sale or whatever. Thank you.
Okay, question?
Yeah, I just had a question. So just to clarify, when you use whatever revenues you get, let's pretend it's 5,000 just to have a number. You're offering to reduce your budgeted allotment, or you want that in addition to whatever is the budgeted allotment?
No, so the budget that we received from the county, the $101,978 and no change, is our annual fee from you guys. This is completely separate from that. What happens is the buildings are owned by the county. And when they did the 5-year plan, they only really focused on 2 buildings, the sheriff's residence and the courthouse. And basically it has come down to if anything else comes up that needs to be repaired, we almost have to go get the cash for it because it's not currently in the budget. We can work with the county and say, hey, you got a couple $1,000 to help us with this, which you guys did last year. I think you did in 2019, so we had something come up in 2019. But the idea is that the BCHA is moving forward with these renovation projects. We can't wait for the budget or the county to kind of catch up with the need of the buildings. So the BCHA is saying, if you let us sell these windows, we'll move forward with renovation projects on the grounds, and that's one less thing that in the future, you guys have to pay for. Okay, so instead of me coming back to you, say next year, saying I need $3,000 to repaint the sheriff's office, or I need $5,000 to fix a hole in the roof of the Murdoch cabinet. That's one less thing you have to pay for because we've already used that money towards those projects. That was the cravat we got from Dick when we talked about it last year. Every penny that we make off of those windows have to go to something related to the grounds of the buildings so that we can continue to move forward, which is fine. I would have said that anyway, because I can't wait for 5 years to pass and then suddenly the cabin now finally being put on to the budget, where they budget, $15,000 to finally fix and replace the windows, or $20,000 for a new roof, or $5,000 to fix the doors, or any of those. We want to make these buildings accessible and exciting and engaging for everybody now. We're working faster than the county can. And that's why the county coordinates with us. Same reason why they do the same thing at Silver Beach with the concessions. We can run it more efficiently and faster than if we were a county department. And so we're just saying, help support some additional work that we're doing by allowing us to keep the windows, or the sale of the windows, to work on these projects. The county now doesn't have to worry about repainting the floor or repainting the walls or fixing the windows inside sheriff's residence. We're taking care of that. And so the money that we receive from the county basically funds our staff and operations so that all the extra money can go towards programs, exhibits, and now this long list of renovations I've given myself. Be very fair, I cannot complain about how busy I am. It's all my own fault. So this is completely separate from our allocated funds every year. This is for future smaller projects throughout the grounds, and then in the long term, saves you guys money. Because, I mean, you guys budgeted $40,000 for updates and upgrades on the HVAC system. And it turns out after we had them come and review everything, only one of them needed to be replaced, $8,000. So really, ultimately, what's happening is things are not as expensive as we thought they were in some areas, which gives a little bit of wiggle room for the rest. Because we may find that the electrical, if that ever happens, you know, maybe a little bit more, because it's a little scary over at the courthouse right now. So anyway, the point is that it's as if it was a grant from the county to us for additional projects. So.
Well, before we go into any other questions, one thing that historically you have to remember, I was on that board for 7 years, and their budget came out of the county's general fund. It no longer does that. It comes out of the Parks Village. So it's a little bit different situation. But is there any other questions?
But it's gonna go to projects that are on the books, right? That we just haven't been able to get to.
Yeah, so, I mean, they looked at whatever that they needed at the time, they picked what they felt was most important for the 5-year plan. But of course, Beanard can say, my windows need to be fixed, or we need to repaint, or we have water damage and we need to make sure walls are patched. And so, those are these little projects that get shoved further and further and further and further down, but in the long term create issues. So, they kept kicking the can down the road on the courthouse wood rot issue, and then the county has spent $40,000 to fix the wood rot. If I have $5,000 on fixing all these little problems, that's $5,000 I've spent, and that's $28,000 or $38,000 or whatever that you guys will have to spend 5 or 6 years from now, because it's already been taken care of, and you didn't have to worry about it.
Okay, any other discussion? Take a vote, let's start.
Tony, yes.
Carl, yes.
James, yes.
Julie, yes.
Mamie, yes.
Eric, yes.
Chuck, yes.
Anybody else?
Sorry, I was on the other, I was in,
I think that's everybody.
yeah, no, I think you got everybody.
Any nays? Okay, motion's passed.
Fantastic, thank you.
So who's gonna put the resolution together to take to the Board of Commissioners?
I think that was me.
If I may.
Before we go
There's
on,
policy that we're gonna have to try to take a look at and see what exactly how that will have to take place. So we'll have to look into that and do a little bit more research.
okay, before we go on, I want to go back to Love Creek for a second. Love Creek basically supports the Berry Birding Club. And there is an annual fee, I think it's $10 per member or family member, families, and they do a little bit of fundraising during the year with the birdathon and so on. One of the projects that we've done over the years, we did a project down at Three Oaks Ponds where you could get access to see the ponds by we built a new chain link indent so that you could get up close and see all the birds and things that are there. But one of the things that to me is very exciting, there's a project called Modus. It's where they ban mainly birds, but they can ban other things with tiny little transmitters that you can actually put them on dragonflies, on bees and so on. They're that tiny. And they have a battery and they last for about 2 or 3 years. And when anything migrates, they build towers, they're called Modus towers, that pick up that transmission. And they're banning birds all over the United States and Canada. And Michigan, well, Ontario has already got antennas clear across Ontario. One of the projects we want to do in Michigan is have towers from Detroit area all the way across the bottom part of Michigan so we can catch every migratory bird that goes back and forth. And when they fly over these towers, The towers have about a 15 area radius, diameter, I guess, about 7-mile radius. And so they're recorded, and everything they know about that bird is given. So we've already got number towers up, and they're recording things that we never realized that these birds flew across Michigan because they never stopped here. Well, the birding club sponsored twice now, and the 2 towers that they're using are up in operation. One's at Sprint Nature Center, one's at a farm down the road. There's more coming. I think by next summer we will have the bottom part of the state covered between different grants, but we contribute, I think it's a little over $5,000 between the 2 grants. But more exciting to those towers, they now have transmitters that are solar. So if it's on a bird or a dragonfly, the solar light activates it. So they last longer, but it requires a separate set of antennas. So those antennas are up on these 2 towers also. And also they're now making it so that we can possibly have the towers run by solar power too. But the Bird Club, which is sponsored through Love Creek and the county, has donated to those things. And that, we think that's pretty exciting. So, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Rocky Gap.
Rocky Gap. All right, so Rocky Gap has been open all year. We don't plow it like we reported at the last meeting, but we also don't close the gates in the winter. So visitors come all year, and it's beautiful there. The beach is, I would say, slightly bigger or more sand available than there was this time last year or over the last couple of years. We've had erosion issues there. So we're excited about that. And then just to let you know, the rental facility at the north part of this park has 15 rentals on the books for 2021.
It's a great place for open air wedding.
We actually had 15 weddings in 2020 too, so very a popular place.
You see it.
Just a note, Berrien County, as Rhea has indicated, the Courthouse Square is a good place to have a wedding. My daughters are there, and my other daughter had a wedding here at Rocky Gap. We actually put up a dance floor on the jailhouse, so we have a jailhouse rock.
That's actually been called my musical series next year.
The Pompano River?
Commissioner Bednar.
Actually, you brought it up, so it's a question. So if there's a wedding on the county facilities, the people are allowed to bring liquor?
They go through the county on that. We don't put it. They have to get the liquor license. They gotta ask the Baptist church for permission. They can just do the legwork. But yes, theoretically, you can have liquor on the courthouse grounds.
The other locations do not allow alcohol.
Oh, so they can't have like a toast?
Correct.
Someone opens up their trunk and they go, the champagne, it's not.
It's not allowed.
Thank you.
May I say something? Mamie Yarbrough? The way that works, and Brian and Jill help me. Let's say we get 12 24-hour license a year from the state of Michigan. And like every now and then somebody does something for 2 days. It may be Friday and Saturday, and they have that license, and that's how they're able, like that beer fest they do, or sometimes it's wine tasting. Then when those are gone, and I say 12, that may not be the number, but when those are gone, then we don't do any more. And they're real tight with it, you know, with your identification and the bracelet and all of that. Is that how it works, Bill? Director?
Yeah, yes. So we do have special events, a limited number of special events that the commissioners have agreed or to allow alcohol sales. The liquor license the selling of tickets and all of that is coordinated through the vendor that signs a special event agreement and hospitality agreement with the county parks. So any alcohol related requirements and permits are the responsibility of the renter for a limited number of events.
Yeah. And insurance, they have insurance, of course.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
We're able to open Paw River on March 29th this year, a little later than we would have liked, I suppose. It's a wonderful park, and our issue there is with the parking lot. It's also down a snow melting area. So it was very squishy and would have caused a lot of rutting if we allowed cars to go in. So we were able to get that opened at the end of March. I have enjoyed it a number of times already. I encourage everybody to go hike that park.
It's also gotten a lot of activity and excitement from.
This is an overhead map of the county park, Paw Paw River County Park. The green area, the green outline, is the current acquired property that has been developed with trails and overlook decks. The yellow area is acquired, but it's undeveloped. And then finally, the red area towards the north is a potential future acquisition site. And would you like to elaborate?
Yeah. The property is owned by the Woodruff family. Dick and Mary Woodruff were longtime residents of the Coloma Waterloo area. They own the property. They have passed away. And the family wants us to own it. They're giving us what I would maybe call a fire sale, about half its value. I talked with the village, I talked with the city, talked with a number of groups, both for hiking, canoeing, Two Rivers Coalition. They're excited about it. They give us somewhat like 2 more miles of river frontage. The city of Waterloo is very excited about it. The township is very excited about it. They're going to actually hike the property Friday. Friday. Have a number of pledges of dollars to purchase it, exceeding $20-some thousand. So we want to move forward on this. I just want to kind of update you of what's going on there.
Can you go back?
Yeah, sure.
How would it connect?
The city, that property is owned by the airport. Both, it's a joint operation by the city and the township, and they're very excited about us to combine them. So we have to work out whether it would be easy, purchase, gift, whatever. But they want us to own that property.
How many?
35 acres.
And what's the price?
We figured, Brian and I figured, with the legal things, we have probably around 100,000, maybe 105,000.
For the 35 acres?
Yeah. Yes.
Besides the price, what's the ongoing cost of maintaining properties and trails and cleaning up?
Well, right now, there are no trails. We got some trail people interested in it. That all come in the future. Right now, just like we did with the Green River. We owned that for a number of years and didn't do anything with it. We just owned it. And that will probably have to happen here too for a while. But those things will be developed down the road. But as to maintaining it, other than, probably watching it a couple of times a year, right now, I don't think.
What's in between the green and the red?
A little bit more property.
You have to get an easement through that?
Yeah, again, the city and the township they own that airport together. And they want us to own it. They're going to work out something with us to make sure we can make it contiguous.
Chairman Larry?
Go ahead, Maine.
Are you going to do a grant, a request or something from the oil stuff? What are you gonna do?
We probably will not be able to do a grant. The family would like to do, they've been waiting now 3 years. This basically heard about a year and a half ago. And so it's probably not gonna be a good timeline to do that. So we're looking at other funds. There's a possibility that Waterloo City or Township or both could contribute some money.
Is the yellow the Enders property? Is that what that is?
It's north of the end. Yeah.
What?
Could you make coffee while I'm doing that?
Yeah.
Get out of the way.
Is the yellow, was that?
The yellow, the already owned.
Right.
I said, we got trail.
Not yet.
Commissioner Bednar, to give you just a ballpark idea, it's roughly about $12,000 to go maintain Galene River County Park. Meaning a full-time staff, a part-time, a temporary young person, Mondays, Fridays, Monday after the weekend, Friday before the weekend, chainsaw oil, you name it, you know, just, that doesn't include any depreciation on the mowers, equipment, any of that stuff, but just ballparkish.
But that's something there, right?
Yeah, we did nothing at Galene River for years, other than go down there and make sure the signs were up, this, you know, it was closed, basically. Galene River was purchased in 2001, and nothing happened to that property other than the county protected that resource from development. And the master plan came out in 2010, we applied for grants in 2012, construction completed in 2014.
No, that's great. I'm just, new, trying to fish for, what does it cost?
Yeah,
What does it cost
so
to
you
maintain?
can almost mimic that for Paw Paw River, because we go there twice a week to maintain that property, so.
Did the Pokagons give some money to Galene, or am I wrong?
Yeah,
A good bulk of money they
We've
gave.
explored with the Galene and also with the Pokagon Fund and also the tribe itself and also Chickadee Openlands, and they have no funds for that right now.
We get down here last year like everybody else.
But we are looking at other sources of money. Again, we have over 20-some thousand pledged. A couple of organizations said when we get, I don't want to use the word serious, but when we're getting ready to go forward in a good manner, they want to raise more money. So they've already pledged over 21,000.
Thank you.
Is there any potential revenue source out at Pawpaw Lake, whether it be from events or any of that, once this gets all developed? I realize none of it's developed right now, or just that small.
There's a possibility, certainly, yeah. The city, the city really would like to build a bridge to the island. And we would have a bridge to the new properties, and that would make it all contiguous. And one of the trail systems, is that out of Grand Rapids or?
To answer your question, Julie, the property is 1 mile from I-94. I think there's enormous potential for this to be a regional attraction for a bicycle event, mountain biking event. Okay. If you're any type of a fishing person, that river is on your radar screen. I've seen people there from Ohio. I talk to people there from Ohio. I mean, it's a popular cold river trout stream. Okay. But being in the location that it's in, within driving, I know friends of mine run their bikes up to Yankee Springs, just near Battle Creek. I mean, bikers will go where, so there is enormous potential. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
But the other thing you have at all of our parks, really, Courthouse River County Park is Arclight Brewery. At Green River County Park is Ghost Isle Brewery. And can we work with a brewery to have some type of a nature from Love Creek? I mean, where the naturalists do their night hike with what Reed's doing, and we get to have our sampling taste. I mean, you name it, there's some possibilities out there.
I mean, they're right there by the downtown area. That's easily accessible for schools to do field trips and, oh yeah, there's a lot of potential.
One of the things, I'm on the Farmland Preservation Board. We had a meeting Monday, and we had speakers, and one of the things that he indicated is that Berrien County, Southwest Michigan, because of its uniqueness of the lake, the fruit industry and so on, and then also parks, is recognized as a nationwide importance area. So I think we recognize it too, because how many people are trying to, people come here and live and work and so on. So anytime we can enhance our parks, I think it's a good thing to do, especially since they want us to have it.
Chairman Schenkel.
Yes.
Mimi Yarbrough. I may be asking a lot of questions, but we haven't met since February, and something else came to me. I want to ask about it. Madeline Bertrand, we applied for a grant to do something with that shelter that was leaning, and it's on the St. Joe River, and I think we got the money. What are we going to do there?
We did not get the grant.
We didn't get it?
We did not get that one. We got one. On the St. Joe River we did. Isn't that what you asked about?
No.
Yeah, I want to know about we were going to do something with the St. Joe River that was down below. So is that 2 grants, not 1?
Maybe this is Brian Bailey. We applied for a recreation passport grant for Green River for the river shelter stabilization project that you're referencing. That grant
I'm asking at Madeline Bertrand Park in Niles.
Right. That grant was denied by the state. But the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund grant for Madeline Bertrand acquisition was recommended, and that is still in the legislative and governor's office to approve that grant for those funds to be released.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That was 300,000, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 300,000.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else on Pawpaw River? Okay, miscellaneous.
All right, a couple things on miscellaneous. Just to update you from the last meeting, we were able to purchase and receive the zero-turn mower for the park system-wide use, and also the beach surf rake for Silver Beach. We've got a brand new beach surf rake, and it's beautiful. And we have now recycled the other one that was 28 years old, I believe. So
Good. That's great.
Anything else, Glenn?
I got a couple of questions about things that were outstanding. One was the noise events. What was the outcome of that with St. Joe, City of St. Joe? Last time we talked about those, we were exceeding the noise events with the unknown of COVID.
yes. So Silver Beach is allowed up to 8 amplified sound events per year. And we've been working with our various vendors that through, they sign up ahead of time. We had a waiting list of people interested. So the radio stations have canceled both of their events, so that opened 2 slots. And the symphony has 4 of those slots right now. We are working with the next folks in line. We do have a middle school, we have a choir concert scheduled, the symphony, and now we're working with the next person in line to see if we can possibly bring some plays to the area. And once we work that out, then we'll move down the list as well. So we're still working on it, but a couple of events have been canceled. Yes.
Okay. And then the other one was, and this was all through an email, I believe, and that was the tent issue at Love Creek. What came of that?
I'm not sure.
With somebody that was renting the facility and they wanted to be able to put a tent up.
I don't have an update on that. Derek may.
You know, I think
I think they approved.
you proved that we will allow a tent, and they don't think the demand is going to be there. It's unknown how much demand is. Are we going to come back to you every time there's a request for a tent? That's not my recommendation, is that you just get a carte blanche. That's more of a management of the park issue, that do you want them to allow a tent if it is requested by the customer? The reason the customer's doing it now, it's a baby shower in June, if I recall, and they're concerned about the COVID numbers. Can we meet inside your building? If we can't, can we put a tent outside and then at least use your restroom facilities? That was the customer's idea. And it's brand new to us, so that's why we bounced it off of you folks. Certainly seemed acceptable to staff, that they cover all the expense, they provide us the liability, and if a customer wants to do that. Right now, it has to be an open air tent due to COVID guidelines.
Yeah. Okay, do you need that motion, or do you, what we did earlier covers it?
I think what you did earlier covers it. Good question.
Thank you.
Are we in need of some sort of policy so this doesn't get, I like this specific area here rather than up near the building? I'd rather have it down, let's say down where the old pavilion was. I'm looking for, we can't have this scattered all over the park there.
Right, I think the naturalists would just say, here's where you are allowed to put your tent, due to either ground cover or nesting turtle area or who knows what, Carl. That it would be restricted to this one area. You know, they have to realize this is a nature center as well. And our primary focus at that park is it's home to nature. And we don't want you going off the trails or going into the prairie or going into the wildflower area. This is the area for the tent.
Well, they wouldn't even need to provide an excuse. This is just the areas that we allow you to have a tent, nowhere
I think it
else.
would depend on the tent type, the size, the type, what event it is and so on. I mean, if it's gonna be a one afternoon, it's, you know, much simpler than a 2-day event and that kind of thing. So I think, Brian, right, the park director and naturalist said that can direct them where they should or should not do it.
Mamie Yarbrough, may I say, I think you need to talk to the health department. Have you talked to them at all about this?
Yeah, Derek Pell talked to the health department commissioner per your email.
Okay.
And we got the guidelines and the, yeah, we're all on the same page.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, new business.
New business, just a couple of employee announcements. Jay Dean, the park director at Madeline Bertrand, has announced his retirement, which will be in June. He has been with the parks for 32 years. I started as the park director on April 12th. So those are two positions that are currently posted. The park property manager and the environmental property manager positions are currently posted on the Berrien County website job posting board. And that's all I have for new business.
So when is Jay leaving?
June 19th is his last day. And he'll likely stick around as a temporary employee until they find somebody. There's nobody in the pipeline for that. Well, Derek Tyler's been there 20 years. He's taken Jay's position.
Oh.
And there's a temporary person that's been there 13 years that's moving up into Derek's, which all makes sense. They're all qualified, capable, skilled employees, and so.
Okay.
Okay, we welcome you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Board, and sorry to see Brian leave, but he's not leaving town. So we probably will give him a call once in a while. Next meeting location, you're gonna try May? No.
Well, we would typically go every other month. We may need to reach out to this group for a special gathering, whether it's over Zoom or in person to review the draft of the concession and playground plan, illustrative plan. So I would say maybe not set a meeting for May yet, just because we don't know the time frame.
Okay, we'll leave that open then. Okay, need a motion to adjourn?
If you want to know on the records, there's no public comments. That has to be in the minutes. And also.
Public comments?
Sorry. Yeah, there are no public comments. I just wanted to make sure that was known.
So the next meeting is to be done when we know more about the plan. Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, support.
Carl, so moved.
James, support.
Yes or no?
Yes. I was trying to figure out who seconded it.
It was Tony.
James, yes.
Julie, yes.
Mamie, yes.
Sean?
Yes.
And if you could note also, Sue, that Eric Lester had to leave at 4, so he's not there. So he's not there anymore.
Well, one of the things that we want to do today is, I don't know if they want you to turn to celebrate Brian leaving, but just to recognize him. He's been, how many years have you been here?
I've been 30 years.
Wow.
I believe it.
You're not that old. But